I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
Hello racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the 7 races at Hastings on the Saturday, May the 5th program, and of course we'll touch on the Kentucky Derby.
First
mile and a quarter, 20 horses going. It's a really good race, and not sure what the weather's going to be like. It was calling for a little bit of rain.
It was raining there today. I talked to a good friend of ours, Joey Kenward, who's down there. I talked to him this morning. It was raining there. I tried to get a hold of my brother. He's just in chaos down there. He is busy. It's supposed to rain a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow. It's supposed to be gorgeous for Derby Day, so the track should be good and tight, play nice and fair. Yeah,
it should be a great day, but we'll touch on the Kentucky Derby after we go through our 7 live races at Hastings. First race, of course, is always at 150. In race number 1, Drew, it's a maiden $8,000 fillies and mares here going just 6 furlongs. You'll notice there's some 6 furlong races and some 6.5s today, but this one is 6 furlongs. And the 2-horse Palace Green for Phil Hall and Donna Gilbert, I thought this horse was taking a significant, it is taking a drop in class, but it looks like the inside speed. I just thought this horse going 6 is going to be awfully tough to beat. I took a shining to the 4-horse Veloso Raptor for Milton Palma. This horse didn't, showed a little bit of speed in his races going 3.5 furlongs last year. Those are actually some pretty good races. Give Me Some Slack came back to win an allowance race. Anna Otis came back to win. Castany Fidelity came back to win. The works are good. A couple of 101s, 102. I thought this horse deserved a little bit of respect. You might want to look at this one in the paddock. And who did I go in for third? Oh, the 6, Puerto Rican Queen. A decent third behind Convergent. Wasn't really in the race. Convergent and Crafty Memory ran way away from the field. And this one is dropping, though, from 16 down for the 8. As is Spanish Dancer, who's coming out of the same race. Those were kind of a little tough last time, and they're in a little easier today. But I thought 2-4. I went 2-4-6.
I agree with Palace Green. I mean, this looks like the horse to beat. She's nice Bellamy Road filly. She's been running in Phoenix. She's come back here, worked nice over the track, 47-4 for last year's leading trainer, Phil Hall. It looks very tough to beat out Enrique Gonzalez. Palace Green on top. I did put Spanish Dancer in the 2nd spot. I didn't mind her in her 1st spot. She was bet down to 5-1. I like the fact that Amadeo Perez, who's actually on fire, sticks with her. 47%. I put her in 2nd spot, hoping she could turn the tables on Puerto Rican Queen. They both came out at 3rd spot, or that last race, and they were battling for the 3rd spot, but just gave a little edge to Spanish Dancer, hoping she can turn the tables on her. 2-3-6 for me in the 1st. On the 2nd, Maiden 16 for 3 and up. Colts and Geldings, field of 6 in here. I went to the one, the Rob Maben runner, Master Ewan, the most accomplished runner in here. He's ran 11 times. Good second in his last start behind Fantastic Command for 16, so he can run protected. But he started out last year running against tough horses. Naughty Newman, Soul Cat, got beat a half in a maiden 25 by Fireboss. Fetisov he ran 2nd to. Northern Storm, Parsimonious.
Basically, those are way better horses.
Yeah, these are
the other 5 he's running.
Considerably tougher horses.
Huge difference.
This is a nice soft spot for him, I think. So I got Master Ewan on top of Mr. Finch out of the Anita Bolton Bar. Another one that was running against tough horses last year. He's the reason. Take the Ira Primo copy. This is a better spot for him. Enrique Gonzalez. And I don't mind Red Buffalo. This horse has been training forwardly for Lacey Birmingham and jockey Jeff Birmingham. 1-5-6 for me.
Yeah, I agree with the one, Master Ewan. This is the, it's not do or die, but I mean, this is a great spot for him. Final work in a minute flat, signals readiness. 6 seconds from 11 career starts. He's just run into some horses that have run their career best races, and maybe another one will run their career best race and beat him again. But he's really live in here. I put the 5-horse Mr. Finch, I agree, for 2nd. Looks like it could be the speed of the race. Probably going to battle with the 4-horse Storm Rocket, but I think Mr. Finch will win that battle. And I put the 2-horse Bionic, who's dropping from maiden allowance. Didn't get in the race at all behind Great Blake and Panhandle. Those are considerably tougher horses, and might have needed the race, and Blinkers on. So you can
it was between those 2. I couldn't decide Red Buffalo or Bionic. I can see Bionic.
They got the hot jock Amadeo Perez too. So I went 1-5-2 in race number 2. Onto the 3rd race, $8,000 non-worth at 3 lifetime. Going 6 furlongs here. We're just going 6. I went to the 2 Presidential Bird. Pretty impressed with his runner-up effort to Aditya. This horse is actually running on well at the end of the race. I know he does have some had a conditioning edge on Adichie, who was off 2 years or a year and a half. But still, Presidential Bird, I thought, ran a very good race. Put Brother Brian in for second. This horse did act up a bit at the start last time. It's a pretty good rider change from Jason Rodriguez. You know, he does a great job. He's a nice gal boy. He rides, you know, some good races, but he doesn't ride enough races. And Dennis Arroyo rides a lot of races, and that's an upgrade. And this horse is pretty live. It looks like a step up in class, but I thought that act up Humphrey Ladd race at Torneador was came up pretty tough because they all ran protected, and it was like an $8,000 race. So I think Brother Brian deserves a good look, and as well as the one Kelson. Kelson's on the money as well. This horse is live and excellent works for a barn that's had them already. I went 2, 3, and 1. I just thought maybe a little more value with the 2 and 3 over the 1.
I agree. Presidential Bird looked very good. Odds of 18-1, just finishing just behind Adichie and ahead of Devil in Disguise. A tough old horse there. Horse. Devil in Disguise would be tough in here. So I got Presidential Bird on top. I put Kelson in the second spot. What do you say about the Glenn Todd barn? He's firing on all cylinders right now, batting, what is he, 36%, 4 for 11. Kelson should be tough in here as well.
Well, I did forget to mention that Presidential Bird was in an open 4,000 last time. And now
exactly. Now it's a non-3. Exactly.
It's a non-3. That's a significant change. That's why he was running against Adichie and the
Devil in Disguise.
Devil in Disguise also won multiple races.
Yeah, exactly. That's a wide open one. Now he's back into a softer condition. Kelson in second. I put Alpha Uno. I'm just going to take a shot on this Rob Gilker horse coming from Santa Anita. You know, he won for Maiden 20 down there, which is, you know, Maiden 20 is their bottoms, but still, those can be some tough horses in there. He should have a fitness edge. Give him a shot under Miguel Rodriguez. 2, 1, and 5 for me in the third. On to the fourth. Maiden $4,000 claiming event for fillies and mares. Going 6.5 furlongs, and I went to the 4 Aspired. I think this one will be a handful in here for trainer Anita Bolton. Enrique Gonzalez rides for the Felicellas. Running another one, running some tough horses last year, like Anotis, First Summer, Suzette.
Stakes winner.
Yeah, so that was a tough race for Aspired for her 2-year-old campaigns. Now in for 4,000 to start a 3-year-old campaign. I think she is the one to beat in here. Very well-bred daughter, Remarkable Miss, too. That's a strong family. Aspired on top. I took a shot on Dave Forrester's USS Coral Sea. Didn't run a jump in her first start, but that was in a tough maiden special weight. Takes the plunge down to the bottom for 4,000. Attracts Amadeo Perez, as we mentioned. He's on fire. I'll take a shot on her in the second spot. And I threw Lucy and Me, ran second behind Perry Ann opening weekend in the maiden $4,000 event. Put her in for third. 4, 2, and 7. I
agree with Aspired. I mean, this horse looks like the speed of the race. Well, there is speed in the race. So we got the 1 Wild Top Cat, the 3 Future Games, but I think Aspired might be a little faster than anyone. And as you mentioned, Suzette in First Summer defeated her in her first couple of starts. Both those fillies are challenging. Here's Hannah tomorrow in the filly or the 3-year-old filly stake race. But Aspired looks to have found a nice spot. You know, it's an aggressive move down for 4,000, but this barn is noted for aggressive moves. When they want to win races, they get them down there, and Aspired's going to be pretty tough. I put the 5 Bama. I just threw that one in for, just a bit of a flyer. This horse has actually ran some decent races last year against Mardi Gras Mabel. Oh So Quick. Like, Oh So Quick would be or not 2 to 5 against Aspired, but would be one of the favorites against this kind of field. And I just thought Bama's races were better than looked, and her work tab's been good coming back. And I agree with the 2 USS Coral Sea. Didn't show anything really in her first up run, but that's a huge drop. That's the biggest drop you can get from
maiden special weight to maiden 4.
And I went 4, 5, and 2 to kick off the late pick 4 at Hastings. On the 5th race, $4,000 and onwards at 2 fillies and mares going 6.5. I see a bit of speed in here. I went to 7 Shadow Dancer. Her 2 route races were really good at the end of the year. Lost to Irish Lass, who came back and won a bunch of races. Actually went down and won in Phoenix too. Then next time out got hooked by Extramarital. Those 2 went crazy. 23 and 2, 46 and 4, and she. Obviously, it ended her season. But prior to that, she was 3rd to Forest Bliss and Sakura sprinting. She did win sprinting, and her work tab's been decent. Last work in 101 and 4 is fine. But I just saw a little bit of speed in here that she might be interesting. And I put the 6 horse, Proudly Noticed, who was a distant second to Total Defense last time. Really had a good trip, no excuses, ran on the rail throughout. But she was off for a full year. This horse was going well, broke her maiden on May the 27th, and then wasn't seen again for the rest of the year. So that's pretty good time off. And Jody Rawson did a great job to get the horse ready, and this horse did as good as she could do that day. No one was beating total defense in 112. And I put the 2-horse Gold Girl, who's got a series of nice works close to. She was actually the last horse to win last year. She won the finale at Hastings, and on October 22nd, and I put her in for third with Scott Williams aboard. 7, 6, and 2. I
went to the 6, and when you mentioned Jody Rawson's horse, Proudly Noticed, I thought a good second behind a well-meant Total Defense in her first start this year. Total Defense was coming out of the Glen Todd barn and ready to run, and now she's got a race under her belt. I can see Proudly Noticed come back running very well. I threw That's It. She finished third in that race. You can see her moving forward off of that. And I threw Alder Glory. It's one you picked opening weekend there. Threw Alder Glory for Christina Mann. And Amadeo Perez sticks with her, so there could be more there. Yeah. So I went 6, 8, and 5 in the 5th. On to the 6th, the Jim Coleman Province, as we take on Kentucky Derby Day, we take our first step towards the BC Derby in September. No secret here, he's been training great. I'm going with the 3. He's the reason. He will be the favorite. An undefeated son of the Factor. Looked very impressive in all 3 of his races here last year. No clever pick here. That work in 110 3 works ago was super impressive. He's the reason on top. What Weekend Wizard is, I think, a very nice colt in his own right. He's been working right along Top Connections. Good to have Richard Hamill back in attack after missing the first couple weekends. Weekend Wizard, if somebody takes He's the Reason down, I could see it being Weekend Wizard. In a race where you can make a case for a lot of these, I went He's the Reason, Weekend Wizard. And last year, one of our top 2-year-olds here, top 2-year-old BC bred Wise Market, ran 4th in his first start, 4th in the sales stake, beat a neck, ran 4th, beat a neck. Other than that, it was all wins and seconds. He won the Futurity, won the Ascot. He's a tough horse out of Top Barn. Wise Market under Amadeo Perez in the 3rd spot. 3, 7, and 2 for me.
Yeah, he was a great $1,500 purchase.
Yes, he was.
Phil Hall, Blair Law, and Brian Elvis.
But I left out European. He ran a big race opening weekend. Winter Night, the horse coming up from Emerald, Bonnie Jean. He's worked in 58 and 2 out of the gate down there. He's a Harbor the Gold. He's obviously got some talent. Supposed to be about 17 hands too. Big, good-looking 3-year-old. Slews to Boss ran some good race last week. This is a very good, solid 3-year-old stake to kick off our 3-year-old program.
It is. You're bang on. This is a good race, and I know the one with the best resume right now is the 3. He's the Reason. I did go to the horse, but this horse is. Things change from 2 to 3. I mean, they're not guaranteed to be as dominant as they were. But this horse has looked very good in the spring, and he looks like a very, very nice colt. And I did take him on top, but it wouldn't shock me to see the 7 Weekend Wizard beat him.
Yeah.
He showed a lot of talent last year. Throughout his last race at Century Downs, he didn't run a yard. He's, his last 2 races, he broke his maiden in 16 and change, and then came back and won the nursery. He had lots of trouble in the Jack Diamond Futurity. There's some issues with him, with trip-wise.
Yeah.
And Richard Hamill's a perfect 2 for 2 on him, and he's back aboard. As you mentioned, great to see Richard back in the tack. Had knee surgery over the winter just to clean up, some nagging little things in his knee that were giving him some grief, and it's taken a little more time to get him back into the tack. But he's back, and that's why he's been away. But great to have Richard, our last year's leading rider. He's been leading rider for a long time, it seems. But Weekend Wizard is my 2nd pick, and I did put European in for 3rd. Pretty impressed with the run last time to Boundary Bay. Boundary Bay had everything his own way on the head end. European was 3 wide the whole race. Rico Walcott made a real dash for on the final turn. Actually got a neck in front. Or half a length in front even, but Boundary Bay under Aaron Grider did have a little left in the tank, as he should have, and European did run 2nd, but no disgrace in losing that day. This horse could get a good pace to run at. There's some speed in here, and I just, Winter Night's fast, as you mentioned, the Bonnie Jen runner from Seattle. AF Indy, I don't know much about the Hastings Racing Club horse, but this one's interesting, a claim for 8,500 in Phoenix, a turf race. But this one's worked well since coming here to Hastings.
He'll be fit.
Wise Market's a cool horse. This horse just runs. I mean, he's just
he's
nothing
tough.
Impressive about him, like to look at him, but he's just a racehorse, and that's cool.
Yeah, he's a fighter.
You want unassuming like John Henry's.
Yeah, exactly.
That are just unassuming, just
he's
plain brown bags.
He's a fighter.
You look at him like, oh, what's that? This looks like a pony. But yeah, try and outrun him. And Wise Market was like that last year. He was very good. But I went 3, 7, and 1 in the Jim Coleman Province. On to the 7th and final, $4,000 claimers going 6.5 furlongs. I ended up on the 4 Fleming's Beach. This horse closed out the season with 2 good wins. Proved to be a pretty good claim for Eric Gutierrez, and Amadeo Perez sticks with the horse. He was 2 for 2 on the horse last year. Gets to run for 4,000 protected. The work tab's been great. I'm going to go with Fleming's Beach over the 7, Sir Barkley, who's been working great for Hall of Famer Harold Barabee, and the 6, Ace Deuce for recent Hall of Famer Barb Heads. 4, 7, 6 to close it out in race number 7.
I got pretty much the same horse. I put Sir Barkley on top. I just think he's a better horse than these. You know, you look back at
he's the best horse.
who he's been running against, you know, throughout his career. They're considerably tougher
coin toss
horses.
for me, 4-7.
Yeah. So I put Sir Barkley on top. I put Cedarburg in second, and he's run. He got an out this year. He's a cool old horse, and it's Derby Day, and he's a John Gunther bred, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. Right. John Gunther's got two that he bred in the Kentucky Derby, Justified, Vino Rosso. So I thought,
you know, should be watching at Kentucky to make sure this horse runs.
You'll probably be keeping an eye on Cedarburg, trying to get his breeder's bonus. Cedarburg up in the second spot, just for the hunch play that John Gunther bred, and I threw Ace Deuce in the third spot. Similar horses to you, 7, 2, and 6 for me. In the nightcap, I think we're going to go ahead and
we'll just go. Yeah, we'll run through our Hastings picks. We'll do a quick recap of our Hastings selections for the Saturday.
Up on screen first, do we, Mike?
There we go. Back in race number 1, I went to the 2 Palace Green. Actually, Drew and I both agreed on that horse. I went 2, 4, 6. Race number 2 went to the 1 Master Ewan. We both agree on the early double. 1, 5, and 2 for me in the second. Race number 3, I went to the 2 Presidential Bird over the 3 Brother Brian and the 1 Kelson. Race number 4, I went to the 4 Aspired. Going to go 4, 5, and 2. Race number 5, I went to the 7 Shadow Dancer. Didn't love this race, but there's a lot of chances. I went 7, 6, and 2. Race number 6, the Jim Coleman Province. I'm going to go to the 3. The impressive, he's the reason, and undefeated, he's the reason. 3, 7, and 1, and then the 7th and final, I went to the 4 Fleming's Beach over the 7 Sir Barkley and the 6 Ace Deuce.
On to my picks, there we go. Back in the first, as Mike mentioned, I agree with him. Number 2, Palace Green over the 3 and the 6. In the second, actually we agree on most of the card today. The second, number 1, Master Ewan out of the Rob Maben barn over the 5 and the 6. In the third, number 2, big race last time, it's 17-1. Presidential Bird over the 1 and the 5. In the fourth, number 4, Aspired over the 2 and the 7. In the fifth, I disagree with Mike on one here. I went with the 6, Proudly Noticed over the 8 and the 5.
5 out of 7.
I know, we've got a lot of the same ones. In the 6, I agree with Mike. Number 3, He's the Reason. Looking very much forward to see these 3-year-olds unveiled in the 3-year-old year. He's the Reason over the 7, Weekend Wizard, and the 2, Wise Market. In the 7th, I went to the 7, Sir Barkley over the 2 and the 6. There's my picks.
All right, now, of course, the 144th running of the Kentucky Derby is going to run about 3:50. We'll quickly touch on that. What a race. What a great card it's going to be, too. A great card.
Tomorrow.
Obviously, Thursday, we're taping on Thursday. Yeah. But tomorrow, Kentucky Oaks Day. There's lots going on.
2 very tough horses there. Monomy Girl and Midnight Bazoo. There's 2 really nice fillies. From
the Bill Spar barn.
2 really nice fillies in there.
It's a really good Oaks, and a lot of great races on the undercard too, as it will be on Saturday. For the
exactly.
Day.
You get the Woodford Reserve Mile, you get the Humana Distaff, and
it just goes on and on. It's just a lot of.
It's like a Breeders' Cup day.
Running on at Churchill Downs this week.
So who'd you go to? Who's your Derby
20
horse?
horses. I think the race is between the Florida Derby runners, like the top 2, the Arkansas Derby winner, and the top 2 in the Santa Anita Derby. I thought those 5 horses were the best, and maybe Vino Rossi would be my 6.
Yeah.
I think those are the 6 horses that you should be zeroing in on.
And
then the other 4, I don't have Mendelssohn at all, but maybe the horse will gin and win by a mile. But I went to the 9 Hofburg. I thought this horse.
I looked at him. Yeah, he's.
I liked him last time. He was very impressive in his maiden win, which he should be in a maiden race. But still, it's pretty late in the day to be breaking your maiden and then going into a Kentucky Derby 2 months later. But he came back and ran a very good second to Audible. Audible, won pretty comfortably. But
he's in top hands.
Horse is still like Audible's had a lot of big races.
Yeah.
And this horse, it was just his 3rd start of his life. I just thought there was more room for improvement. I think Iron Ortiz will have this horse well back off the pace. There might be a bit of a pace. Maybe if some horses get a little too interested in the early part of the race, because a mile and a quarter is not for every horse. And I just think this horse will go a mile and a quarter. He's a Tappet, got excellent pedigree. Is this race too soon for him? Probably in his racing career. But I just thought 20-1 with Iron Ortiz and Bill Mott wasn't a bad thing to do. Audible's the horse to beat. I mean, like Audible, I would pick Audible, actually, if you had to, make a wager on the race. This horse would, is looking brilliant. He's finishing full of energy. The mile and a quarter won't get to him. I thought Audible was great, and I put Justify in for 3rd. I mean, he lacks experience, but he looked good defeating.
Well, he started 3 times. Your top picks are lacking a little experience.
He's coming from out of it. I like horses passing horses. I just see some pace going on.
Yeah.
I see that there's always going to be excited jockeys in the in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
The opening quarter is not going to be 24 or anything.
No, it never is. It's 22 and change.
22 and 4. I know
45.
It's a long straightaway. But I mean, it's still. I just see.
It's always quick.
It could be
20 horses.
And Irad's just so good. The Ortiz brothers are so good, and Bill Mott's you know, he's an excellent at getting horses ready to go distance to ground. But Hofburg, Audible, Justify went 9-5-7. Like Justify's been brilliant, and I don't want to jinx John Gunther with Vino Rossi or Justify him, and hope both of them win.
I got to go with the Gunther horses. I went to Justify. He's just been so impressive. You know, he's a big, good-looking boy. Bob Baffert said the other day it's the best-looking horse he's ever trained. He just, you know, all the, you know, superlatives he said about this horse. He breathes different air, everything. I just think he's the best horse. Is he? Would I rather that he's run 6 times instead of 3?
Of course. Yeah,
absolutely.
Experience, because there's a lot of things that are going to happen.
Yeah, but he's in good hands with Mike Smith. Couldn't be a cooler rider out there. Mike Smith, I don't want to see him on the lead. I want to see him a little bit back off.
He'll try and put him on the lead.
He might.
Mike don't.
But I went to Justify for John Gunther. Totally hoping for Justify. My hunch play, I got to go with number 10, My Boy Jack. I got to. My son.
You got to.
Jack Forster. So I put My Boy Jack in. If it does start to fall apart up front, this is a horse that I could see running on, especially if, I mean, it's supposed to be nice, but if it is a rainy track, those Kent DeSorma runners always seem to run well in the mud. We saw a few years ago with Exaggerator. Could see a similar thing work out.
Kent's was kind of raised on the Maryland circuit, and there's like rain every day.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of time. This guy learned how to ride on some nasty tracks. And so like when it's sloppy, he's good.
He knows what he's doing, exactly. So I put My Boy Jack in second. I put Vino Rosso, the other John Gunther runner. The breeding here, you mentioned the Tappet breeding on Hofburg. This colt is bred to run all day, and I think that little extra eighth of a mile is going to be to his liking. Was running away from. Interesting, too, that John Velasquez picked Vino Rosso over Audible. Audible has more.
I think it was Castellano's mount, because Castellano was in Dubai or something. No, he was in Dubai riding someone.
Because if he did pick it over him, then, you know, because Audible has a better resume.
Yeah.
So if Johnny Velasquez went with Vino Rosso. But I'm going to throw both Gunther horses in there, and of course My Boy Jack. These are my hunch plays. 7, 10, and 18 for me in the 144th running in the Kentucky Derby.
We both left out Magna. I know that's a touch on every horse. Magna Moon, Mendelssohn, and Solimini. Those three horses have big chances too. Like as I mentioned off the top, the Arkansas Derby. Magna Moon would look great. And,
Mendelssohn's a brother to Beholder. They paid $3 million for, and he looks like he's worth every penny.
Solimini was against the grain of the track. He was wide and didn't get the position.
In Arkansas,
But those are I think those are your 6 horses.
We've touched on the major ones.
Those are the major players.
Good Magic.
Maybe I didn't take anyone out of the Bluegrass, but maybe Good Magic can move forward as he needs to.
There we go. Up next on screen will be our picks.
Yep, here's a recap of the Kentucky Derby picks. There we go. Mike went 9, 5, and 7. And Drew.
On to my picks. I'm going with number 7. Really, fingers crossed for our good friend at the Derby here.
You just don't see 7, 10, and 18.
You know, those are my lucky numbers. I play them all the time. 7, 10, and 18. Justify, My Boy Jack, and Vino Rosso. There we go.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Handicapper Scoring on a special Kentucky Derby edition.
I should mention before we go, we have like 1 or 2 tables left here for the Kentucky Derby. If you hear this before Saturday, call us. 604-536-2978. We can squeeze you in. We got 1 or maybe 2 tables left.
And if you like the Phillies, the Kentucky Oats tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. All day tomorrow. We'll have some food specials and whatnot.
Some tables available at the Kentucky Oats as well. On behalf of Drew, thanks for tuning in to Handicapper's Corner. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
I got the horse right here. The name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do